Asaf, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, most welcome. I guess we were just discussing how you're about to finish your book, so would love to hear about what that's about, and we can go from there, really.
Well, the whole book is basically, I find it like an instruction manual to who we are. Everything in our life, we get instruction of how to use it, whether if it's your phone or your car or even how to use a glass. We know how to use it, we understand the purpose of it and how to use it, but with us as human, we never got instruction book. We just kind of been thrown into life and kind of try to figure it out.
About how to be human or how to live life, or
Something I really like is for me, human being to be human, but it's more about understanding of our body and mind as a device. The same as the car, the mind is here to serve us. It has a purpose, and the mind is a device for knowledge. Wherever we direct our attention, we get the knowledge on whatever it is. While we do meditation, for example, we focus on the breath, we get knowledge about the breath, how deep it is, how short it is, the call they're coming in. And whatever we put our attention towards, we immediately get knowledge about. And we've never been taught that the mind is a device. We always thought that the mind, our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions is who we are. It's us, not something that is designed to support life. It's designed to protect us from danger or risk. So when we are anxious, we say, I'm anxious. And we immediately try to turn it off. We feel contraction, we feel rejection, avoidance from it, and we immediately try to turn it off. Whether if I have anxiety from driving, I don't drive. Anxiety from going to public, I don't go out. Fear of approaching a girl, I don't go and speak with her. But do these actions really benefits us and our purpose, what we want to achieve? We associate them to our identity. Anger, sadness, anxiety, fear, depression, distress. We always think that we are what we feel, what we experience. We've never been taught that we are the one who is aware of all of the things that's going on inside of us.
that we're an observer of everything that is going on, right?
Exactly. We've never been taught how to connect to it. So whatever we feel, we think it's us. And we react to the world and associate. We don't see what's happening as objects. And everything in the world, external, internal, everything is simply a temporary and changing object. Nothing else forever. It just comes and goes. But we are the observer. We don't come, we don't begin, or we don't end when it comes. We don't change when it changes. And we always remain. And through different practices that I learn and guide also right now, you are able to disassociate yourself in a way from it. Not trying to cancel them, not trying to make them go away, not trying to calm down and to change the anxiety to something else. To see it, to understand what the meaning of it, what it actually comes to show us.
That's a big thing because I feel like our natural instinct as we grow up, like you said, we're not taught about how to deal with anything, right? So I feel as though our natural instinct is to either get really frustrated about feeling a certain way, like, oh, why am I angry? Why am I this?
Exactly.
Or it's the other way, you just completely go, oh, that makes me anxious, I'm going to run away from it. And you're just trying to avoid that situation, but then you can't really grow, right?
It's not only grow, your action is to cancel the feeling rather than to achieve your purpose. So when you feel anxiety and, for example, you're scared of driving, let's take driving for example, because this is something I'm working with my mom right now. She had anxiety about driving for 15 years. She don't go on the car. We associate us to the anxiety and we become the anxiety, so we avoid. We feel contraction in our body, we feel our body contract, we feel our breath starting to breathe faster, we can feel it in our entire system. And we immediately feel a contraction, we either reject it or avoid it. But anxiety simply comes to show us that, first of all, that this is the way the mind is supposed to work. If I'm anxious about driving, it means that I'm scared that something bad will happen. Anxiety comes to show us love to life, and it's a side effect to the abundance we have. We never feel anxiety over a cockroach. We feel anxiety over the things we love, the things we appreciate, the things we cherish in this life. So our mind comes to tell us the natural reaction is to protect us. Contract, reject, avoid, don't do it. But once we're able to see this as an object that has a beginning, duration, and end, and it will change, it's just a feeling, and we're able to watch it. Don't try to change it, but to see the situation to what it is and to ask what will serve me. what will serve my purpose in this situation? Will it serve my purpose to get out of the car and go back home? Or will it serve my purpose to switch to manual control and take the action to achieve the purpose, which is to go see our grandchildren, or to go to some gathering or a wedding or whatever it is you want to achieve by doing this action.
Yeah, because it's about creating a solution, right, rather than just letting it control you. And I think a big danger as well, I've met people, and because they're so used to having anxiety, they just label themselves as an anxious person.
It
And
becomes the
that's,
identity.
yeah, and it makes it part of their identity. It's like, oh, I'm anxious, and I just think that can't be great for you, you know? Which is why that's just a fixed mindset, because you're telling yourself, I am this, I can't change. And that's, everyone has the power to change, right?
It's not only everybody has the power to change. Look at the automated response that your brain creates once you assign yourself to this identity. You take pills, and you avoid going out to public, and you don't drive the car, you stop living, you close yourself, you avoid life instead of experiencing life, or to serve whatever purpose you want to serve or achieve whatever it is you want to achieve. You don't start a business because of self-doubt. You don't approach the girl. You don't nourish your own life only because you don't understand that the mind is not here to tell you don't do it. It's some point in life, anxiety, fear, they come to serve us. Yes, not all automated responses are bad. When I reach the edge of a cliff and I feel fear and contraction, rejection, I move away from the cliff. It comes to serve me, it comes to support life.
Right.
But if there is no immediate danger and there is a purpose and something we want to achieve, we need to be able to observe it, to understand that anxiety just tells us that we have so much things that we love in life. We are anxious about our children, we're anxious about our job, we're anxious about our house, our partner. It just shows that we have so much to love. And once you change this point of view, you no longer see it as something bad. You see yourself even as lucky, as abundance.
That really stuck with me when you mentioned that, because as we evolved, we had real things to be anxious about, right? And it was very important that we had that tool as we were going through in the wilderness, because there were a lot of threats, and it was a very good tool. And now we don't have, a lot of the time, we don't have very serious problems. Our life is not in immediate danger, and so the replacement for that is all this other stuff, which in the grand scheme of things isn't that important, but our brain always is looking for something to be wary of and to be anxious of, right?
Exactly. And it still control our actions today. And we still always trying to turn off the feeling, to change it, to do breathworks, to calm ourselves down. We are unable to understand that it's inevitable part of life. Contraction, expansion works the same as your heart, as your lungs. You cannot only expand, you cannot only contract. The purpose behind it is to be able to understand that there's two identities inside of you at the end of the day. One is your mind, which works on automation. There's two purposes for the mind: to accumulate knowledge, and the second one is to support your life, to support your existence. And then there is the second one that is you, which is the one that is aware, the one that is on manual control, the one who is controlling the actions. And by empty yourself from anxiety, empty yourself from the feelings or depression or anger or whatever it is that overwhelm you, and to be able to connect to who you are when you are empty from all of those feelings. And then even if you look at your past experiences, how did anxiety make you act? How did anger make you act? And what is the automated response that your mind always created because of them? And then ask yourself, if I'm in the same situation and I fight with my partner, without the anger, seeing me, understanding that anger is a temporary and changing object, understanding that it's only come to tell me that my knowledge says this is not the way it's supposed to be, and my mind only here to protect me. If you go back to the previous situation you had, and you empty yourself, you see yourself as who you are, empty of anger, because in you there is no anger. You do not change, you do not come or go with anger. It's not you. How would you react? How different would your actions be in that situation? How would you react towards your partner? How would you communicate towards your mother? How would you act towards your job, your work, the things you really want to achieve, the things you want to nourish in life? In our base is only intention to create good, to nourish our surrounding, whether if it's our partnership, our family, our job. But how do we act when we act from those emotions? when we just try to shut them down, we want to replace them, we want to...
Well, this is why I think, I don't know where it came from, but there was always this listen to your emotions, follow your heart. But I actually don't really believe in that advice, because how often has our emotions just led us to make terrible decisions, right?
Your emotions are a product of your mind. Your mind is a child. Your mind works with I want, I don't want. Yes, and it's good. I want more, good expansion, desire for more, attraction to it. Bad contraction, rejection, avoidance. But it's all based on your knowledge. It's all based on your experiences, your life story, where you've been brought up, how you experience those stuff yourself, your religion, your parents, your school, your education. And it's just simply your opinion. It's not true.
And everything's accumulated over time. So if a certain situation or event happened when we were younger, which made a quite big impact on us, some may call it trauma, for example, we're going to have that response to that event. And I presume in the future, whenever a situation arises that elicits that same response, we're going to keep on acting the same way until we notice it, right?
On this, I teach a model which is a lake model, which is the lake is the accumulation of all the knowledge we ever gathered in our life. It's all of our past. And whenever somebody saw a stone inside, it creates a splash. And that splash is the immediate emotion, reaction, feeling, rejection, contraction, expansion, desire. But it's all based on our past experience. It's not the actual situation. And in order for us to be able to respond to life, whether to react to life, we need to wait for the splash to finish, the ripples to come down. And only when the stone sinks to the bottom and the water is clear, you can see the stone to what it really is. And you can act accordingly. One of my favorite examples is a relationship I had with my mom when I was younger. I travel a lot in my life. I lived in 13 different countries. I traveled more than 60 countries. I'm like a black sheep in my family. I did not do the normal routine of school, university, marriage, children. And whenever I used to come to visit home, and again, the purpose of me going home to try to meet my family is to strengthen the bond, to create good relationship with them. And my mom would always ask me, why you're not married, why you're not settled down, why you don't have kids, family. And for me, my knowledge tell me it's criticism. Criticism equal bad, create contraction, create rejection or avoidance, or reaction with anger. And in the past, it used to create a fight, which did not serve the purpose I was there. And then I started to, exactly like in the lake model, she saw a stone. My knowledge says criticism, bad. I feel a splash, and I react to the splash. And now once I let the ripples come down and I can see the stone going down, now I can see what she's actually telling me. I can see that her knowledge is telling her mind is telling her that for me to be happy, I need to be married, I need to settle down, I need to have kids, I need to buy a house.
They think they know what's best for you, right?
It's not that they think they know what's best for me. This is her knowledge. This is her own life experience.
That's all they
This is
know.
what she knows. And now I don't hear any more criticism. What I do hear is what she's actually telling me, what her true intention, what the stone is really is. She tells me, son, I love you. I want you to be happy. And for this, my knowledge says that you need to be married. And now I don't need to respond anymore to the splash. I don't need to respond to the criticism. I can respond to her intentions. And I can say, Mom, thank you so much for caring about me. Thank you so much for loving me and wanting me to be happy. And the funny thing is that once I changed my response, I changed my action towards her, all of a sudden our relationship became so much, the bond strengthened. She's changed her actions towards me. She started to see me not as a black sheep that trying to figure out what he wants in life. She understands that I'm going through a different process and what she knows.
I think our instinct is to be defensive, right? If someone not criticizes you, but if someone tells you a way something should be done, a lot of the time our instinct is to get defensive. Oh, but you don't know my life. You don't know how I'm doing things. I know what's best for me. Whereas, I think it takes practice, right, to actually step back and be like, okay, why are they saying these things?
It takes practice to be able to notice. First of all, to notice our lake, our knowledge, to notice our splashes. It takes awareness to be able to not to hold it and not to immediately react to it. But once we are able to see, we can see the person. We change the communication, we change the system, and at the end of the day, it's all about the tree of good and bad. What I classify, what my mind, my knowledge classified as good and bad. This is my lake. I can say so many different words, and your mind will immediately put good or bad. And I like to, in the beginning, to say money, love, family, and then I like to put rape, and then I like to put
For what, sorry?
rape, to rape,
Oh,
rape a girl, for
oh,
example,
okay. Yeah.
or
Oh,
decapitating,
like classifying what's good and
or
bad.
decapitating heads.
Okay.
You know, now everything is knowledge. So if you go to some places in Africa, rape is something that is very common, and it does not seem as something bad. So it does not create a contraction like it does with us. Or decapitating head. If you go to a guy that lived in ISIS or in a terrorist group all of his life, and he's been taught
That's good, right?
so he does not get contraction from it, he gets expansion. This is something that needs to be done, and he desire towards it. And it's all knowledge, and all part of what I teach, that all knowledge is subjective,
Yes, yeah.
and there is objective knowledge. And objective knowledge will be true to everybody, everywhere in the world, whether if you're a boy, an old man, a woman, a girl, if you live in Japan, Peru. Objective knowledge simply show us that everything from the outside world and the inward world, and I teach this through practice so you can actually experience it firsthand. It's not me telling you, but right now I just share it. And that everything in the world is simply an object that at the beginning, duration and hand, it's have a temporary nature, and it's constantly changing. Nothing lasts forever. I always like to add, even mountain and ocean don't last the test of time. The Sahara Desert used to be an ocean. But there is one constant in this life. There is one island of stability and security that we all have inside of us. We just need to be able to find him. We just need to be able to find us. A lot of time we'd say we're disconnected from ourselves. I don't find myself, I'm lost. But we are never lost. We're just not aware. We're just unable to switch to manual and to be able to see him, to see us in our true nature, not our emotions, not our feelings, not our thoughts.
Is that the issue? Because we get too attached to our emotions. But then on the other point as well, everything that we've been told, it kind of limits us because we're all made up of our experiences over time. So eventually we won't actually know that there's another option out there. So one common theme in the podcast is we talk about people only thinking, right, the 9 to 5 is an option, right? You have to go to school, obviously, you've got to study, you've got to go and find a job, that type of thing. And do you think that's one of the reasons we become disconnected from ourselves? Like you said, we're a make-up of all of our experiences and what we've been told. If you don't know what there is outside of your belief system, how are you going to be able to connect to yourself? Because that thing outside of what you currently know could be where you're supposed to be, right?
Yeah, 100%. In the West, we've always been taught to chase the outside world, but at the end of the day, everything is knowledge. But the beautiful thing about knowledge is easily to be replaced. For example, all of your life you had the wrong timetable for the bus, and every time you go to the bus station according to this timetable, you go and the bus is not there. So you think, and then one day I come to you and I give you the correct timetable for the bus. But not by me giving you the correct timetable to the bus, by you actually testing it yourself, examining it, going and checking yourself. You go by the new timetable for the bus, and you see actually, yeah, this is when the bus coming. What immediately happened to the wrong timetable, to the old one? Do you still use it, or it's been replaced with new knowledge? New knowledge can be gained, but it can only be gained by first-hand experiences. We have to examine, we have to test ourselves. I think this is why the Western religions are so problematic, because they are blind faith. We never experienced it. We never felt God inside of us. So how do we meet him outside? And we are locked into this knowledge. We believe that this is the only truth available. But by only experimenting, by only first-hand, the story I really like about this, you can really, just finish the sentence, you can really find out the true nature of everything. These two stories that I like combined with first-hand experiences, one is about a guy who used to live next to the Himalaya. And all of his life he was looking at the mountain. He said, one day I will climb that mountain. And the day came and the guy packed his bag and packed his equipment and decided to start walking to the mountain and to climb the mountain. And when he reached to the foot of the mountain, he met a traveler coming down. And he asked him, which path have you taken? And what did you experience when you reached to the top? And the traveler shared with him the path that he'd taken and how he felt when he reached the peak of the mountain. Now the guy decided that this path is too difficult for him, and he decided to continue walking by the foot of the mountain to find another path. And he met another traveler coming down. And he asked him again, which path have you taken and what did you experience when you reached to the peak of the mountain? And again, the traveler shared with him the path he's taken and his own experiences when he reached to the peak. Again, he decided that this path is too difficult for him, and he continued walking by the foot of the mountain. And he continued to do that until he met 20, 25 different travelers. And by the time he met the 25th traveler, asking him the same question, which path did you take in and what did you experience? The guy decided to himself, okay, I don't need to climb the mountain anymore. I know all the possible routes, and I know the experiences you can feel by reaching the peak. But unless we actually experience it ourselves, unless we actually gather the knowledge, we actually test this knowledge, test these routes, test our own feelings towards what is true for us, we will never gain new knowledge. We will only live with theoretical knowledge, which will give us amazing philosophical talks when we sit with friends. We can discuss many books and different ideas, but how many of them did we actually first-hand experience? How much of them is a way we live our life, rather than theoretical knowledge?
There's a couple points there, but the main one I gathered was that everyone's opinions about everything is just completely subjective. How can you experience it with yourself? And what you've been told about the world through your parents is one example, but just everything that you've experienced in your own little bubble, how could you possibly know what the world's really like if all you've been told is from other people who have only relayed their experiences and what they've been told?
And the funny part is that even their experiences is not their experiences, it's what they've been told. And the second one is an experiment they've done with monkeys, I think back in the 80s. They've taken a group of 5 monkeys and they put them in a cage. You know this story? With the ladder.
It's great, right?
I love this story because it shows you how much wrong knowledge we have. We live life with fear, but not even for stuff we experience or even the people before us.
Well, yeah, you can say it again if you like for the audience who haven't heard it.
Okay, the story, it's an experiment they've done with 5 monkeys. They put them in a cage and they put a ladder with bananas on the top of the ladder. Whenever one of the monkeys tried to climb the ladder, they electrocuted all of the monkeys in the cage. And eventually the monkeys understood what's happening and they stopped climbing the ladder and tried to get the bananas. And now one by one they started to take the original monkeys out and they put new monkeys in. And whenever the new monkey came in and he wanted to climb to reach the banana, before he even touched the ladder, the rest of the monkey took him and started beating him up. And slowly they changed all the original monkeys that were electrocuted in the beginning, and they put only fresh monkeys and never felt the pain, never been electrocuted themselves. But whenever a new monkey came, even though they have no idea why they're beating him up, whenever a new monkey came and he wanted to reach the banana, they started to beat him up. Now, they just keep doing the same. We live in the same cycle again and again and again in our life. We're afraid to experience because what we've been told or how we've been treated or how we've been associated, and we just live by this knowledge, but this knowledge was never true knowledge. It was only based on experiences and what we've been shown. For me, this is a lot of religion, heaven and hell, you know? It's a lot about how we're afraid to leave our home, to leave our security, our stability, but there's never security or stability in there. And we just fall a sense of them.
Yeah, it's like the way we've been told by society how we should live, and again, you'd never or walk the path less trodden or travelled because no one else has done it, so why would you do it? But actually I think there's probably where the beauty is.
Not only nobody else is doing it, the people who never did it before tells you should not do it. They tell you or beat you up for it. I was a black sheep in my family for a long time, for leaving my country, for leaving my home, for traveling different countries, working different jobs, trying to figure out my past. I was being told I'm wrong. Now for me, I heard them, but I still continue with my own past. But how many people have this desire to go and explore, to experience life for themselves, but because they're getting beaten up by the monkeys and never experience what it means to live, they never actually go on this path themselves and kind of always living with a sense of regret or miss.
Yeah, I presume it's the stuff that you don't try that you regret doing, right?
I think, yeah, you can put it this way.
Yeah, I think so. But then again, you can even apply this to everyday examples. So it'd be very easy. Let's say you wanted to go out for dinner tonight. The easy option for you would be to go on the first restaurant that has 300 reviews and it's 4.8 stars. That's the easy option. You go there, it's very busy and you'd have a nice time. But what if you tried out something that didn't exist on Google Maps or maybe had a couple of reviews? Some of the best places I've eaten here have had maybe 3 or 4 reviews, right? And the food has been fantastic. It's been better value for money. It hasn't been overpriced. And again, but obviously when you're a tourist and you don't know what's out there, you're just going to go for the easiest, the safest option.
You
But
follow the clock.
yeah, but there's so many hidden gems here, man, and
In life, in general, there's so many experiences, so many things that we reject in life, and because we have fear, because we are anxious about it, because we don't know, we feel like the unknown is a problem, but the unknown is the path forward. And not only the path forward, the unknown of everything you knew before. And a lot of what I try to put down on paper is that most of the knowledge we have is wrong knowledge. I put it as wrong knowledge, misled knowledge, or complete ignorance. Whatever we did not experience firsthand, whatever we did not examine and investigate it firsthand, we cannot have an opinion about it. We cannot know the true meaning of it to us. And this is the path less walked, as you say, but this is the path that I think me, you, other people, especially on this island, have chosen to take and to explore, to try to understand if there is more to life than what they were told all of their life. But even here, you find yourself very limited to, like you said, to whatever other people tell you to go, to who to go, to what to do, and you don't actually examine it yourself.
yeah, I mean, there's a balance as well. I think in some instances, in business, for example, it can be very, very helpful to speak to someone who's been on the same path you're going on and ask them for their life advice, right? At the same time, there can be a lot of bad advice out there. So I guess the important thing for us is to, again, engage that critical thinking perhaps and think, okay, why are they telling me this or why are they giving this advice? Okay, is it because they have actually experienced that? Have they got any fears? Did they have a bad experience doing something else? And yeah, I think just critically thinking everything, I think that's sort of seems like a decent way to go about things, perhaps.
I think there is no good or bad advice. I think everybody shares their knowledge and their own experiences, whether they experience it themselves or that's what they've been told. But the only way for us to actually know it firsthand is to put it into the test. Plant this seed in our garden, give it the right condition and see what will grow without the intention of it to grow into something different, just as curiosity. And to take this potential, take this seed, whatever, and provide it the right condition. And by providing it attention, providing the right conditions, you will see it will go to what it's meant to be.
And is that the attitude you would advise to someone that say they have been feeling very anxious recently? Should they treat that with curiosity, for example?
With anxiety, my approach is a little bit different. With anxiety, first of all, I show them that anxiety is just an object. It's a temporary and it changes constantly. I try to explain and to let them see what anxiety comes to show us. And so the anxiety is a side product of the abundance we have in modern day life. And we live in more abundance than every emperor, king or ever lived in the world. And because we have much more, we feel much more anxious. And the more we accumulate, we have more anxiety because we do a lot of stuff in order to not feel anxious. So we buy a house so we have a sense of stability. But then we are worried that somebody that the house will get burned or destroyed, or we will not be able to pay the mortgage, so we accumulate more anxiety. And anxiety just comes to show you how much things you love in life, because you'll never be anxious about a cockroach. You'll be anxious about your mom, you'll be anxious about your relationship, about your career, about your house, the things that you love and cherish in life. So understanding that it's a healthy mechanism of the mind to try to preserve the things that you cherish. And not to try to fight it or make it go away, but to be able to observe it, to see it, to understand it differently. It's not a bad feeling that I need to change. It just shows me that I have so much things in my life that I love. From there, through practice, we learn how to change from the automation mind to a aware state of being and to a manual control.
Well, I wonder what would you say then, in some instances, some people might feel anxiety about a certain thing, right? So let's say it was an ex-girlfriend who, let's say they cheated on you or whatever, right? Whenever that person shows up, you get anxious. So how can you sort of reframe that? Because that anxiety might be, right, stay away from this woman, she's not good for you, or stay away because she caused you hurt last time. Is that, again, it's a sort of reframing that, like, okay, this isn't a bad feeling, it's just warning me about this. Is it like it becoming your friend kind of thing?
It's becoming something you're aware of. Anxiety will never feel good. It will never feel like an expansion. It will never feel like joy, no matter how aware you are. it will never feel something good. And if it's a girlfriend, I will always look at the knowledge. Everybody in the world, no matter who they are, no matter what they are, the intention is always to generate good. I'm Jewish, so I always like to use Hitler for this example. Hitler never thought to himself, "I'm evil. I'm going to exterminate all the Jews from the world." His knowledge told him that the Jewish people are the reason the German people are suffering, and because of this, they need to be annihilated. Now, I don't justify the knowledge. I don't justify the actions. But when I know that the intentions is always to generate good, and no matter what we do, no matter who we are, no matter how evil we think or how good we think that person is, we can find, first of all, compassion towards him. We can find understanding towards him. I use this example when I take to my own life, I take it to my father. And my father never thought that I hate this child, I'll beat him up. And he needs to get beaten up. His knowledge telling that in order to educate me, in order for me to be the man that I'm supposed to be, the action that he needs to take is to discipline me with physical.
And that's probably all he knew, right? Because of
This
his
is his
upbringing.
knowledge, and this is probably
Right.
the way his father brought him. And from this place, I can see the intentions to generate good. I can see the intentions for him to wanting me to be a man that I'm supposed to be, or grow up the way I'm supposed to grow up, based on his knowledge. Now, again, I don't justify the knowledge. I don't justify the actions. But I can find compassion and love towards him from a place that he never wanted bad to me. He just wanted to generate good. Your ex-girlfriend who cheated on you, she never said, "I'm going to hurt him, I'm going to cheat on him." She went through her own process, her own state of awareness, her own contractions, her own depression, feeling
Which
not beautiful,
probably
feeling
derived from her background previously, right?
that
And
this is how she get validation, or you did something bad, so I need to pay you back. Every situation is individual, but the intention will never to hurt you. You were never a part of the equation. Again, the knowledge is not correct. The actions are not correct. But it's also your knowledge as well. So in your knowledge, cheating is something bad, but if you speak to a person who lives in a polyamory relationship, if you sleep with somebody else, it's not something bad. It's maybe even good.
That's this idea that, yeah, I've resonated with as well, and it kind of, again, takes the pressure off you. It's the idea that in the universe, there's no inherently good or bad thing. There's just things.
There's
It's
only
just
knowledge.
a thing. And then we apply the morality and stuff like that.
And that's
it's all-
based on your knowledge, your lake.
all subjective, right? It's
Every-
our upbringing. We think everything's good, and because we've been brought up a certain way. But like you said, you used the sort of terrorism example. They've been brought up to believe that, whatever it may be, that's been a good thing. Whether it's committing all these atrocities and all this type of shit, that's just the way they've been brought up. And again, and I think it would help society if society realised that and had more empathy towards people, right? The issue that I see at the moment is that there's a lot of polarization, and people see, oh, they think like this, what's wrong with them? Or they vote for this person, they vote for these people. It's like, just take a step back. Figure out, okay, why are they voting for this person? Let's try and understand each other. And then actually, I think once you do take that step back, you're like, okay, cool, well, their motivations were here, and I could see why, but hey, we share quite a lot in common, and we actually share a common goal. I think a lot of humans are a lot more similar than they think, and it's these, I think politics is a big one for just dividing people, and the reality is, it keeps people from connecting, because they just presume that everything they know is right.
Everybody wants to save the world, but nobody agrees on how. And the problem is that we always try to change the outside world. But how much control do we have over other people? How much control do I have over my mom? How much can I change her by shouting and screaming at her when she's criticizing me? But what happened when I change my reaction towards her? What will happen when we change our reaction towards our partner and we communicate things differently? Not reacting to the splashes, to the anger, to the sense of fighting back or proving my point or show that I'm right. You're not right. It's just your opinion. It's just your knowledge. And when you're able to understand this, you're able to take a step back from these emotions, not even from your knowledge, and look at the stone. What is the purpose of this relationship? Why am I in this relationship? What do I want to achieve from this? Do I want to fight back and to damage this relationship, to scream, shout, and leave the house, sleep with somebody else? Or do I want to understand him, explain my side, understand his side, find a common ground, talk it over, communicate it in a better way? Are we able to switch off from the automation? Are we able to move to an aware state of consciousness and to be able to switch to manual, and through the emotions, through the feelings, through the sensations, through our immediate automatic reaction, can we make a conscious decision? Because at the end of the day, our intention is always to nourish what's around us. I never want to damage this relationship. But the automated response, the knowledge, the feeling, what happens if I move to manual? What happens if I breathe for a second, watch it, hear what he's saying, understand his knowledge, understand their side, not trying to change them. We can never change them. But what happens if I change me? Recently I have a friend of mine, and he had a very, very funny, not funny, he had his partner for about 4 years together. They got married, and she lived in Israel and he lived in England, and she moved with him to England. And at some point, he felt contraction, he felt insecurity, and he left the relationship. They broke up, and 6 months after, again, he broke up with her and broke up and left again. And we met here in Bali actually in August this year. And he told me I really want to get her back, but I'm afraid to get her back, as I'm afraid that the stuff that used to trigger me will still trigger me. And for him, it was, she has a kind of Israeli mentality. When they fight, she screams, she gets anger, she gets emotional. And he's very English, he's very calm, very everything, chill kind of guy.
Yeah.
And it always created contractions, which created rejection, and he was avoiding her, which made her more angry. And for example, he gave me an example of the fact that when they go to Israel, he meets too much with his family. And she wants to spend time with him also, she wants to be with him, but he don't see his mom so much, so when he is in Israel, he likes to be with her. And I told him, instead of when she's telling you, let's not go to your mom, and let's stay at home, instead of you blowing her off and say, I'm in Israel, I want to see my mom, it's my family, I'm not here much, instead of this, tell her, I understand your side. I can hear your intention that you want to spend time with me, that you want to have quality time together, that you want to experience other things together. But from my side, I don't really see my mom that often. I love my family. We can try to find balance. I can try to go less. We can try to meet with her less. To try to find a place that...
Common grounds in the middle.
Yes, and not react to the splash, not react to the fact that she might be shouting to you about it, but hear what her intentions are saying, what she is trying to tell you. What's her knowledge might tell her that you need to scream in order for you to hear her, but either intention to make you contract, either intention to trigger you to press your buttons, or she just want to nourish this relationship in the best way she knows how. Now, don't try to change her. She will not change. This is her knowledge. But if you change your reaction, if you, instead of blowing her off and still go see your mom, if you be able to tell her, I understand, I hear you, I see you, and from my side, X, Y, and Z. And just the other day, I had a call with him. He went back and tried to get her back for the third time now. And I told him she has a lot of trauma. You need to be very gentle with it. But eventually, the minute she gets through, I was supporting him the whole way through it. And now they are back to see each other, back into a relationship. And he told me, understanding also that the purpose of relationship is not to make you happy. The purpose of relationship is to build common ground, to build a mutual project, to support life at the end of the day, to have stability. You're not trying to look for the expansion, to the constant feeling of joy in it. Because like in everything, everything is temporary and changing. So whatever creates expansion to you have the potential to create the same contraction. A child, relationship, a job, you can get a new job, you feel expansion, you're happy, then the boss change, or the job title change, or you're in a relationship and then the partner change, or everything create expansion can create the same contraction. And if you constantly look for the expansion, you constantly look for the feeling of feeling good, and this is how we live life. When we feel good, great. When we feel bad, we need to change it. Something is wrong here. When you just accept and understand the purpose of every situation, why we are here, why do we have this conversation? Why am I living with you? Why do I go meet my mom for lunch? Why do I go to the job, to my work? When we understand the purpose and we can understand that the emotions are here just to show us our knowledge, our life story, what we know, and to be able to switch to manual again and to be able to take the beneficial action. And we do this through a lot of different practices, from focus meditation, to be able to switch the awareness to where you want it to be. Focus meditation teach you that, for example, when you try to watch the breath, your automation mind will always want to go to different areas, different thoughts, sensation, feelings, emotion, but you never choose them. This is automation. This is not you. Bringing back your awareness to the breath gain new control to switch to manual. And you understand that you never chose these emotions, you never chose these thoughts, you never chose these cuts. Right now your attention, where you want to direct it, is to your breath. And then we switch to mindfulness, which is broad awareness, to notice everything that's going on. To notice, meditation, you do it with body sensations, you feel body sensations, sounds, hot, cold, and then you move it to internal feelings, emotions, the black in front of your eyes, thoughts. And slowly you start watching the chain of event.
Yeah, so let's dive into that then. How can people listening, because I think awareness is the most important thing someone can develop, right? If someone's listening to this and they want to start building that awareness, is it as simple as taking a step back? Is there any way they can grow that over time, or?
This is the main purpose of focused meditation. A lot of people think that meditation, the purpose of it is to calm yourself down or to find enlightenment. I see meditation like going to the gym. Focused meditation is simply giving you the ability to focus your attention to where you want it to be. Like when you ride a horse, and the horse will naturally want to look left and right, look for food, but you, the one that is aware, the one who is control the horse, you just give it a little nudge and you bring it back to where you want it to be. And the same in real life, when you have an argument and you feel anger. No, you never chose this anger. This anger is simply a product of your knowledge and your experiences, your past. This is how you react to it. This is just the splash. But then again, after enough time that you practice focused meditation, I can say, I did not choose this. What do I choose? I want to choose to be in this situation right now. What is the purpose of the situation? What is the most beneficial action I can take in order to achieve this purpose? Is it to react to this anger? To fight with my partner? To leave the house? To get angry with my mom? To get angry with my boss? Or either a different action I can take? And when we ask ourselves this question, and when we do it from a place of emptiness or from the emotion, we always find the motivation to generate good and to nourish what is around us. So we never want to make you feel bad, because in me there is no anger. Anger is what makes me want to attack you. But in me, there is no anger. There is only a motivation to generate good.
Right, and that's how people become disconnected from themselves, because really they're not those labels. They're not an angry being. They're not
This is just your mind This is just your mind walking the way it should walk. Your mind should get angry. Your mind, and when somebody hurts you or somebody does something bad to you, your mind, this is his way to protect you. It's his own self-mechanism. It's how it should work. It just shows you that your knowledge tells you that this is not how it should be done. But outside of this emotion, outside of this knowledge, outside of your mind, there's two entities inside of us. We have the mind, the inner talk, the one that is constantly telling you you're not good enough, you're anxious, this is your mind talking. And then there is you. And the you is the one that is able to be aware of the situation and to identify the emotion, to understand what this emotion comes to show us. So anxiety can show us how much things we have in life that we love. Depression shows us that life is not the way we think it should be. And once you're able to see it and you understand that, okay, so it's a healthy mechanism of my life. I'm perfectly fine. Anxiety does not mean something's wrong with me. This is how the mind should work. I have so much things in my life, I should care about them. But through this, to choose the action that would benefit the situation, and to choose your karma. And karma, a lot of people think karma is energy. It's something mystical. You do something bad will happen. Karma just means action. Yeah, you plant a lemon tree will grow. You plant an apple tree will grow. However you act will affect your life. So if you don't act through anger, if you act in a more conscious way, in a way that you can communicate and to achieve the purpose of the situation, your life will never be affected by the anxiety or anger, because if you did not take action, your life is not affected.
There's something about that as well, on a slightly different note perhaps, but it's like if you have a positive mindset and you're vibrating at a higher frequency, you will attract people on that frequency as well. Whereas if you've ever been in like a bad mood and you haven't been aware of it, right, you've just been owning that, I find on those days everything seems to be going wrong. Suddenly I'm stuck in traffic and all these different events happen. And I notice more bad things happen once I've started off the day like that. And it's, I don't think it's a coincidence. I think it's because the brain is wired to be in that mood and it's going to find more things to be annoyed at naturally. So it's so true. And if you do the opposite, I find if you have that positive mindset and you're in a great mood and you're operating at a higher frequency and you're aware of everything, you're only going to be drawn to people who are on the same level, right?
I don't see it like magic. I see it like change of events. And this is mindfulness, for example, when you notice everything. And for example, you notice sound, and with time, you notice the chain of event of everything. So sound creates expansion, and then you start listening further. Then this creates a memory. Then the memory creates a thought. And there's a chain of event. Everything at the beginning, duration, end. The sound at the beginning, duration, and end. Then it changes to a thought. Then it changes to a memory. Then it changes to an expansion. And it's all the content we put in. So if I spend my day scrolling Instagram and watching the news, and all I get is things that make my body contract and feel anxiety and fear toward my existence, and all of a sudden all the stuff I see will create anxiety and fear towards my existence because it's a chain of events. This is where this is just, you can literally see it happening.
I've met people who have completely got rid of their anxiety just by stopping watching the news.
You can also get rid of migraines by drinking coffee. It's always action and consequence. It's whatever action you create, it will create the following action. And life is a combination. This is the beautiful part, because life is an endless chain of action and consequences. And even if we're taking the wrong action today, so if I smoke and I light up the cigarette now, I can always have the next action, the next beneficial action. So it will be either to put the cigarette down or not to light the next cigarette. I can always make this conscious choice. And even if I took an action that is not dharmic to me, does not nourish me, like there's always the next action. And nothing is fixed. Everything constantly change. Everything is temporary. And by this, we can always change our life by simply choosing different actions.
And I think that's how we can better accept our emotions as well. It's like that saying, no man steps in the same river twice, because it's always flowing, it's always a different part of the river.
The river is never the same, and you are never the same. You can, some say you can never even step in the same river once.
Yeah, it's like every emotion you feel, whether it's intense happiness or, whether it's super anxious moment, it's all temporary. And I think just reminding ourselves of that, it's like, I remember being at festivals, music festivals, right? Often people will take substances and they will go through a bad trip. But there's always comfort knowing, okay, it's just temporary. This isn't, your brain hasn't suddenly become deformed for the rest of your life. It's just like, right, okay, ride this out. But I think that's actually a good lesson for life as well, right? Everything we experience is temporary, the good and the bad, and again, just letting go of control, as you've alluded to, right?
And we also learned that there is one constant. Everything you experience, from the object world, from the outside or inner world, it's temporary. It has a beginning, duration, and end, and it will constantly change. But there is one constant. There is always you, the one who's experiencing it, the one who's observing it. You don't begin with the emotion. You don't begin when anger arises. You don't begin when anger arises. You don't end when the anger leaves. You don't change when the anger changes. And we see it very much easier with the outside world. When I see a bird, I don't think I'm the bird. But when I feel anger, I feel I'm angry.
Right.
I attach it to me. I put it into my identity. But everything will come and go and change. But you are the one who is aware of it. You always remain. Like an island in the middle of the ocean. The ships comes, they come and go, but the island always remain.
I think that's
unchanged.
that's a really helpful analogy as well. Your anger is like a bird. It's the same thing because
It's an object.
You're a being.
It's a temporary and changing object.
Yeah, you're observing it. It's the same thing, and I think just accepting that can give you quite a lot of peace as well. I know another example I saw was if you've gone for a long car journey and you've been driving for an hour, you'll look back at that car journey and you won't actually remember driving. You won't remember steering, pushing your foot down the accelerator, whatever it is, because that's been you in autopilot. And that was the first time when I heard that, when I was going through a tricky time 4 years ago. That was the first time I was like, okay, I'm actually more than my thoughts. And that really helped me because I realized, okay, during that car period, what was I doing? That was me, but I wasn't feeling anything. I wasn't concentrating on driving. And yeah, I feel like that's a helpful analogy. I'd like to dive in as well because you mentioned when you were younger, your father was quite physical with you, right? How did that impact you, and how did that lead to where you are today? Was that a motivating factor for going deep into the work you do now, or?
I think everything in your life shapes your life, so everything is action consequences. So the main consequence I believe this happened is that eventually my mom had to leave my father. So, and that created my knowledge that I'm the reason now my brothers and sisters don't have a father. And then started financial problems in the house. So I blame myself that my brothers and sisters and my mom, we don't have money, that we struggle with paying rent, with paying electricity. That created me searching to change this contraction with what back then was food for me. I was an obese child. When I was 15, I was 160 kilo.
160?
I was literally double what I am today.
Wow. I'm 110.
Yeah, but you're big and muscle. That was not big and muscle. This was pure fat.
Yeah, 50 kilos. Wow, 160. Okay.
And that created, now when you're like a big bullseye for kids, I used to get beat up by other kids, by other boys. I used to get made fun of by other girls. I even remember one situation when I was about 12. I was not even at my maximum. And I went to this girl's birthday party, and we played spin the bottle, and then she spin the bottle. I really remember that very vividly. It's still not very strong knowledge. And this bottle spin to me, and she said, "No, I will not touch him."
Yeah, mate, that's traumatic right there. I don't care how you dress it up. That's
people been through much, much worse. But it's kind of everything created a chain of events. So I started to work when I was 13 and to help my mom paying rent. And my knowledge is always that in a survival mode, in a victim mode, the world happening to me. And I started going to school at some point, but I just went to the final exams at some point. So, and everything kind of created this chain of events. So misvalidated, unwanted, unloved, unneeded. The one to blame for all of the misfortune of the world, I'm the one to blame. And that took me on my journey to leave my country, to become financially successful. And my 20s, power, validation from girls, money. And I had a very strict direction to get my mom out of her debt, get my sister and brother, taking care of them.
so all of this was actually motivation for you, right? Is that right?
This is the functioning of my mind on autopilot, and this is on automation. This is victimizing. This is survival mode. This is thing that I associated myself with, and what I thought was my purpose in life. So I'm the blame to my family misfortune. I need to take care of them financially, which I did. I'm misvalidated from girls, so I chased girls everywhere to get validated. And
I see you naturally got better at that.
once I lost my weight, and I started to get much more attention. I am in my 20s, I was quite a good-looking guy, and I started to get this validation, but it's never ended because validation is not from them. And
It comes from within, right?
there's never miss of validation. You are always validated. You are always stable when you find you. But when you chase the expansion, the validation from the outside, it comes and goes. She comes, she goes, the validation goes away. You need the next one. It's like a drug, and you always need more and more and more. This pretty much led my life all the way, I'd say, till I reached around 35, when I kind of achieved all of the Western world targets. I was making crazy amount of money. I was engaged to a supermodel, the most beautiful girl I've known in my life, both inside and outside. I had a company of 1,000 employees, which I built it from scratch. And so I had power, I had validation, I had respect, I had everything I want. And I remember the sensation of emptiness. After I paid off my mom's debts, after I helped my family, my brothers, my sister, I remember this feeling of nothingness. I don't want anything. There is no purpose now. There is nothing for me more to achieve. And I really remember every day when having my coffee on the balcony, looking at the balcony edge and just take this step, take this step. There's nothing more here for you. And this took me on the journey that I'm today, on the path that I'm today, to try to understand what is our purpose, why we are here, who am I in all of this.
Yeah, because it seemed like you were chasing something based off of your belief
Knowledge.
system.
Based on my
your
knowledge, based on my experiences, based on how I experience life.
And you were disconnected from yourself, so you were chasing something else, and then once you finally reached that, you're like, oh, okay, the answer was actually back here. I need to look at myself. And that though you can get those answers before because of your upbringing and all of the other factors in your life, right?
There is a sentence by Osho that I really like, and actually that kind of resonated with me for many, many years. He said, we all start at the valley and we always think that all of the answers are at the peak of the mountain. But once we reach the peak of the mountain, we understand there's no difference between the peak and the valley. There's nothing to achieve on the outside world, nothing that will ever create lasting well-being. Because everything, also feelings, everything is object in the world, and everything is temporary, everything is changing, so we can never accumulate happiness, it can never be sustainable. And also everything from the outside world don't have the happiness, the essence of good in it. I like to use money, for example. We think that if we'll have more money, we'll be happy. But how many people do you reach that are, I know many, multimillionaires, and I guarantee you, they don't have much happiness in their life. Or chocolate. There's no essence of good in it. So when you take one piece, you feel the taste, the flavor. But when you finish a whole box, it's no longer, it doesn't have the same feeling. But what does last in it? The sugar, the fat, the cholesterol, this is what remains. And they don't contain the essence of good in them. So they can never achieve you a sustaining feeling of well-being.
And comes down to those things that give us instant gratification as well. We think those things are the answers. People think that quick dopamine fix will solve things.
Because this is what we've been told.
Yeah, and that's what. Yeah, it's,
look at marketing. Look at Instagram. Look at the influencers. Look what they show you: Lamborghinis, Ferraris, women, power, fame.
Yeah, bollocks, mate. Yeah.
And they make you believe that this is what you need to be happy. But none of those things can ever generate a long-lasting sensation of well-being. The opposite. Usually they create more anxiety, more depression, more sense of emptiness. Because the more, it's like chocolate, the more you accumulate it, the goodness goes away, but what remains is...
Yeah, it's a funny one, isn't it? It's coming back to your point earlier, it's like no matter where you are in life, there's always going to be some problem. There's always going to be something,
expansion
right?
is inevitable. As long as you are living in a physical body, you have physical form and you have things in life that you love, contraction and expansion are inevitable. You can never escape them, but you should not escape them also.
Yeah.
They're not something bad. They're not telling, it's not a sign that your mind is unhealthy. It's opposite. It shows you that your mind is working this way it's meant to work. It's the most evolved machinery to support life that this world has ever created. There's a reason why these human beings evolved to be the most dominated species on this planet. This device is designed to help us to support our existence, to support life. And all of the mechanism and all the trigger that it had, all the contraction and expansions are here to support life. They're not here to make you feel happy. They're not here to make you, this is not the purpose of life. And opposite, if we believe the purpose of life is to be happy, what do you find in life? You find suffering, because whenever you're not happy, you feel you miss the purpose of life. So you find much more suffering when you believe that the purpose of life is to be happy. Us as human, we have the same purpose, and all the objects are in existence. Everything in existence have a purpose to serve. Your car, your phone, the table, the glass, the pan, they're designed to serve their purpose. But we as humans, we never been taught what is our purpose.
Right.
Or how
to find who you are and what your identity is. And I've spoken to a couple of people on the podcast now, and what has put them into a state of depression is this state of
purpose.
What is my purpose? What's my identity?
This is depression.
Yeah.
This is what I've been through when I reached my peak. I had no purpose anymore. I achieved all of my purpose. I had nothing to live for anymore. But our purpose is very simple, because like everything else in existence, we're meant to serve. And I think Picasso says it in a very, very beautiful way. He said, the meaning of life is to find your gift. The purpose of life is to give it away. It's to understand what seeds you have in your garden. And I have the analogy of the gardener and the garden. When the gardener is the body and the mind, which is also a potential by itself, and you have the garden of potential that life gave to you. We all have different potential. We all have different seeds in the garden. And the one we will put our attention to will grow. They will grow to whatever they are meant to grow, to their full potential. It's not necessarily what we want it to grow. I can give all of my attention and give the best condition to a girl that I like, but I will overwater her as a flower. I will not give her the right condition to become her potential, or it just did not have the potential to grow. It's like I try to grow a flower in the desert. It's not the right environment. It's not the right conditions for it. And our job in life is, first of all, to take care of the gardener, us, the body, the mind, and to take care of the different layers of our body, our physical form, our energy, the food we bring into our body, our mind, the content we expose it to, our knowledge, what we teach ourselves, the Dharma. And from that, we'll be able to serve our purpose. And then the gardener, once we've taken care of him, for him to go to the garden and to nourish the potential, it's much, much easier for him. He will have the energy. So if I'm fat, lazy, and it's hard for me to go to the garden to walk, I would say, it's very hard to walk. The walk in the garden is very, very difficult. But if I'm in good shape, if I'm in physical form, and I go to the garden, it's not so, the job itself to take care of the garden is not so difficult anymore. So when you take care of your mind, you take care of your energy, you take care of your knowledge, you take care of your physical form, the devices are here to interact with the world. All of a sudden you gain also ability to take care of the garden.
Yeah, it amazes me that some people still don't make their health a priority. I get when you're younger, especially, it's easy to take advantage of the fact that you're young and think that you're invincible and that type of thing. But just in terms of the way it makes you feel and that type of thing, I think, yeah, the body is just such an important one, and the link with the mind as well. And I think if you've got that combination of you look after your body physically, you're feeding yourself the right food, but then also with your mind, if you're able to reframe your experience and reach that awareness, then I think at that point you've kind of got all the tools, really. At least you've got the baseline right and the foundations built to build upon that.
But it's not our fault. We were never told the body is a device. We were never told it's the same as our car. You never put the one type of gas in your car. You never put sand inside of your car instead of fuel. But your body, you don't see it as a device. So you will eat the chocolate cake. You will eat sugar. You will mistreat it because the purpose is not to take care of this device. The purpose is to feel the expansion. And the purpose is to chase happiness, to chase joy, to chase enjoyment.
That's the thing. We shouldn't even be. That's another lie that we've been told, or another concept that has gone on, is that we need to be happy all the time.
It's impossible to be happy all the time. Everything, in a very simple way, once we know everything is temporary and changing, you know that nothing can sustain, nothing can last forever. So if now I start a new relationship and I feel expansion, I feel happy, then she changed, she cheated on me, something happened in the situation, she moved away, she passed away at some point, yes? Even if we stay together 70 years, at some point she will pass away or I will pass away, and then she will feel contraction. Everything that creates expansion must create contraction. It's the inevitability of life, it's your heartbeat, it's your lungs. There is no sensation, the emotion of happiness cannot sustain. But the feeling of well-being, to be able to be aware and to be able to watch everything going, to experience everything is going. I like to analyze it like going to the ocean. When you go to the ocean and a wave comes, you have three ways to approach this wave. One is to let it wash you to the shore. You feel depression, you feel anxiety, you just let it wash to the shore and give up. The second way is with anger or with, you jump into it, you fight it. But there is the third way, which is simply lift your legs up a little bit and just become a part of the wave, just let it kind of go through you. And experience it, see it, feel it, know that it, at the beginning, the duration and end, no matter how big, no matter how powerful, no matter how soft it is, that it will change. The next way will be different. And just experience life to the fullest. You don't have to experience only the joy, the happiness, the expansion in life. There is a lot to learn and discover about you and your purpose through those contractions, through the pain. And the pain is not something, the contraction is not something designed to stop us. It's another tool, it's another opportunity for us to learn who we are.
And dig deeper why that's happened. Are we getting triggered? Why are we feeling that contraction? And then we can dig
know
deeper,
why, because the reason we feel the contraction is knowledge. This is always the reason. It's our knowledge and our experiences. We can gain new knowledge by gaining new experiences. The same as the timetable of the bus. We know why we feel it. We understand what the mind intention is the same as our intention. It's to generate good. Is to help us survive, it's to protect us. But does the automation mindset, the way you immediately want to react, does reacting to the splash, does it necessarily serve your true purpose? Which, when we take away all of it, everything that is left is a motivation to nourish what's around us, to nourish what we love, to serve, and to give to our partners, to our family, to our job, to evolve them, to make them grow to their potential.
Yeah, there's so much to unpick from this episode, and yeah, I feel as though it's such a common problem right now. Even just, I think, just struggling to navigate whatever we're feeling, especially, I think in all adults really, but I think especially young men, because we have this tendency to want to deal with everything ourselves and not look out for support. And when we feel an emotion, we just want to sort of push it away and just carry on with life. But I think even just listening to that, just taking a moment to really take a step back and increase your awareness and just think, okay, right, I'm feeling this, what's actually going on here? And this is why I think journaling is quite an important one, something I don't think a lot of men do at all. I didn't do it for a while, but even now I just think writing down everything that comes up into my brain, and then you discover...
You start to notice it.
Yeah, you start to notice your thought patterns. And once you start noticing your thought patterns, then you really start to, again, cultivate this awareness, and then you can start doing things about it. And you realize, okay, this is holding me back. And then you can start, again, replacing it with different thoughts, right?
With new actions, new experiences, and get new knowledge. It's all chain of event. If you start journaling, you can see one day you're watching the news in the morning, you're watching Netflix all day, and you felt like shit at the end of the day. Another day you meditated, you went to the gym, you walked all day. End of the day you will feel much more expansion. It's all chain of events. Action creates consequences. And once you start to notice it, you start to see what nourishes your life, what is good for you, what is right for you, what is true for you. I agree 100%.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, well, yeah, we've covered a lot of ground here, which is absolutely fantastic, Asaf. Where can people follow you? Where can they find out more about your work and that type of thing?
Currently, I'm just in the stage of finishing what will be perhaps a hard copy workbook and also an online course. I'm on all socials. Currently, I'm just starting to create branding and awareness around what I'm trying to bring out to the world.
Okay.
And I hope this will be able to serve people the way that this knowledge served me. The path that it took me and taught me how to become my own teacher as well. I'm not a teacher. My purpose is not to become your teacher or your guru. My purpose is to teach you how to become your teacher, how to be able to ask yourself the right questions, to give you the tools to discover you.
I see. Yeah, that's hugely important. Just build some tools that we can use for our whole life, right? And be able to manage it. That's really cool. We'll put your links in the description and that type of thing so people can find you and stay up to date. One way in which I like to finish the podcast is by asking for a song suggestion. So what is yours? It can be your favorite song right now or just anything really.
What is my song? Specifically song?
Yeah, or a recommendation for the audience.
I usually, my feel good song is Somewhere Over the Rainbow. It can be Feel Good by Muse also, I like their version. My go-to music is usually 80s, 90s rock, so it's my generation. It can be Metallica, Nirvana, Doors, U2, Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Okay.
Depends on the mood, depends on the situation. Imagine is one of the most beautiful songs, I think.
Imagine.
Imagine by John Lennon. Imagine all the people. Very strong, unknown. It's a song of unknown. Imagine there's everything you know is unknown. It's a path of unknown. It's the same path that I guide. To forget your knowledge, to unknown the knowledge you have, to forget what you know. I think it's one of the song that hits me every time and keeps bringing me back to the past as well. Whenever I go on a vacation or holiday or kinda not practice myself, because it's also human.
Yeah, it just kind of reminds you of everything.
Of the true nature of everything, that all the knowledge is simply subjective, it's simply your opinion, it's simply what you know, it's your experiences, it's where you came from, it's simply the story of your life. It's not you.
Yeah, That's so important. Yeah, again, really profound, and thanks so much for coming on. It's been awesome.
Thank you very much for having me. It's been
Pleasure.
a pleasure.